Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the AOC Pro Cup Round 2, Day 3, upper bracket between Arrow Gaming and Everlast.Gamefilling. This is Game 3 of the best of 3, and it will round out our broadcast for today, concluding to see which of these two teams will be advancing and how they will proceed. This is going to be an exciting one, guys. The first game went very favorably towards Arrow. The second one very favorably towards Everlast.Gamefilling, but I feel like both teams learned a little bit about how to change their drafts and really what they need to do differently in order to really move forward against their opponents. So the meta evolves and we move forward with some amazing Dota. So I can't wait for it. It's been long waited with some delays with the servers, but now we're finally into it, and I'm pumped. This is going to be a good game. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'd like to welcome back to the broadcast Congo Kyle. What's going on, man?
Hey, yeah, nice long break. I managed to get a little bit of shut-eye as well on my chair, sitting here just just closing my eyes on my chair. Yeah, I'm really pumped for Game 3. I was hoping we would go to 3 games. I mean, the execution in the previous game was sort of unparalleled. I mean, that Morphling just farmed up a Storm. They do pick up Slark this time, so it'll be interesting to see if it is going to be that BSR Slark and see if he can secure a little bit of farm and get that snowball effect that we have seen from Slarks in the past. And Doom being banned out by Arrow, so there's not going to be that much of a problem for the Slark, but I wouldn't be surprised to see maybe I don't know, Slark doesn't do well against Silence, and also that immediate Hex coming out from Lion, pretty good counter as well to the Slark. So it'll be interesting to see how Arrow go about playing this game, if they themselves are going to go for a little bit of AoE madness, or they're just going to try to play it out the split push again, maybe pick up the Lance anti-mage, or they're going to test out the Ember Spirit. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, if they feel like they have the heroes that can give him the space where he can just kind of stand in the back, dish out the damage, and then right when they want to strike the killing blow, jump in with those fire remnants and kind of dish it out. Right now, he doesn't have to worry about too much as far as silences go, unless we look at a Slark Orchid, which is rather uncommon of late. So, yeah, if they did want to go for the Ember Spirit, that is an option, but we'll have to see. Probably definitely not in the first phase. Like, we've been seeing people knee-jerk pick it up in the phase 1 and then get countered all to hell, and it's not a very fun experience, especially for the individual playing the Ember. But yeah, they're going to go for something different. They're going to go for Lance's Weaver, and this is a pretty characteristic pick that can essentially deal with everything that Slark and Chen bring early on. He's going to be able to survive, he's going to be able to maneuver, and he's going to be able to dish out a hell of a lot of single-target physical damage. So I like this pick. I think it's going to work really well for them. Maybe a little bit early, but if they can round it out, maybe get some good supports that can either stun for him, or either that or just keep him up. I mean, we've seen Dazzles and Abaddons work pretty well with the hero, and in general, I think it's going to be a strong pick.
Yeah, as you said, characteristic Weaver pickup for Lance, and at the same time, you know, it is one of those impact heroes, and it does a lot in the mid to late game, and sort of early to mid game, especially with the Chikuchi. Comboing it up with the Abaddon, I think it's a bit too safe. I mean, copying it up with the Dazzle actually hasn't really made much of an appearance on SA Dota, not from most of the games. I mean, in Europe at the moment, it's becoming, when you watch a lot of competitive CMs and stuff like that, you watch some of the games in the evening, a lot of Dazzles being picked up, and it's a great hero, especially as you mentioned with Weaver. It makes him that much more annoying to kill. And at the same time, they pick it up with the Next Assassin, and Next Assassin, it gives them a couple of options. They can combo it up with Wild Wisp, they can combo it up with something else and make it a second support in a lane, or they can put it in the off lane. And yeah, I don't know. IO pick up though, IO Slark.
Yeah, especially with the Chen. I love IO Chen as far as support composition. Obviously, they don't naturally have any hard lockdown abilities to themselves, but you get a carry with a stun, like a CK, like a Tiny, and that usually is made up for. And the really cool synergies come down to what Chen and IO can do together. Specifically, the power of the Hand of God plus Tether is really, really impressive. I mean, that's 200 healing that applies to everyone, sure, but then you get the Tether on them, and that's an extra 300. So Hand of God comes from a 200 healed all, adding in to a 500 for a single individual. But this promotes some aggression. This is an opportunity for Arrow Gaming to kind of step their game up and try to be on the front foot as far as the aggression, the damage output, and just making IO's life a living hell. And if they can get the silence off, make sure he can't tether away, he is a very squishy hero that they can bring down quite quickly. So we'll see that. The other synergy that I really like about Chen and IO is the Test of Faith. If you relocate very defensively and you try to pull somebody out, so essentially you relocate back to your fountain and you tether to the CK if he needs to bail, or maybe even the Slark, then you'll get that person out of dodge, and usually that means you forfeit the IO. He has to go, unfortunately, rubber band back to where he relocated from and die. But the Test of Faith negates that if you time it appropriately, and it's a really cool thing to see. But yeah, maybe it's a thing that's in Everlast's arsenal. Either way, a great combination of heroes, the Chen, the Ion, the CK, but we'll have to see how they deal with this aggressive draft from Arrow.
Night Stalker pickup is fantastic. I mean, up against the Chen, once he gets that night vision up and he's able to run around, gets a scepter, he can possibly shut down the Chen with the silence. On the other end, they finally pick up my favorite hero, the Jakiro. Yeah, just in this sense, it makes a lot. In this draft, it makes a lot of sense going up against the Chaos.io. Once again, you're fighting in close proximity. Jakiro, fantastic against that. Gets the Earth path down, dual breath, macropire. Just it really disrupts a team fight. And even though they are going to have the double heal essentially with the mech coming out as well, I feel they will think twice about fighting in the middle of a Earth path and macropire. And the Night Stalker gives them a lot of chase potential too. Next Assassin gives a little bit of vision if they are not to jump behind towers and maybe pick up a kill or follow up with the next Assassin and try and get a kill with Vendetta. And they essentially, it's once again, it's not really Everlast aren't going for a big sort of wombo combo team fight again. They're rather going to look for quick pickoffs here and there and a little bit of sustainability with the Chen and a little bit of heal from the IO as well. So it's an interesting draft, and it's I mean, if I can look at maybe the mind behind it, if I can try to just delve into Noki's mind at the moment, it's definitely going to be the dual lane safe lane in the bottom for the Chaos Knight and IO, with Chen helping out. They don't really have a lot of pushing potential. And until until Chen gets about 2 creeps and maybe the wagon wave comes in. But what they're going to set it up with, I don't know. I mean, it's Night Stalker. What are they going to put up against the Night Stalker in the mid? There's an OD. There's a OD. They can even put the Slark against the Night Stalker. Slark does relatively well against melee 1v1s because of his essence, the steal from stats and the ability to harass. But God, I was about to say Queen of Pain. I was about to say Queen of Pain.
Gotta get out faster, man. You gotta look smart.
Yeah.
You gotta look smart.
There you go.
But oh well, Queen of Pain is an awesome pickup here. Knockout Stalker can still definitely hold his own in the matchup if he plays it appropriately, but Queen of Pain has quite a bit of potential as well, especially if she puts 2 points in the Shadow Strike early. She'll be able to kite more effectively and make it very difficult for especially the Daywalker to really go toe-to-toe with her. And of course she brings with her a ton of rune control, a ton of nuke potential, and when you combine that with what they've already put on the battlefield, it gets pretty scary. I mean, if you get those illusions up, the Phantasm, you can make things a living hell for your opponent. But I want to point out that Superfly is currently picking up the CK, and we've seen him mostly be running in the mid lane. We have seen him run safe lane carry once in his games versus Zephyr, but otherwise seen him a lot in the mid, and it could actually be a dual 2v1 IO-CK versus Night Stalker.
Yeah, that'll really shut DDZ down. I mean, there's nothing really you can do against that at all. I mean, the IO will be zoning out the lane, Superfly will be securing a lot of farm. And although the last game he actually had a great time against DDZ with that Doom, I mean, he picked up a double kill first blood and got really all his items out pretty soon. I think this might be sort of the same, unless Bangsalroti is a lot stronger on the Queen of Pain and they feel like they're just one of the heroes that he needs to play this matchup. The dual lane mid could work. I mean, you have a Slark in the off lane, and looking at the items, yeah, it's going to be Bangsalroti going to the solo mid, or actually I don't know.
I think he is, but we'll have to see. Obviously, both options are viable, but it's really just what they feel they can be more active with. Obviously, Wisp needs level 6 pretty early. The Chen wants to roam and gank effectively. They want to be able to pin down their opponents, and if they're expecting maybe an aggressive tri-lane from their opponents, then they have to be wary of that as well and make sure that they're not leaving their bottom lane high and dry by committing so many resources mid. So before action breaks out, actually it might interrupt me, but I'm going to try to start this off, and well, let's see if they can actually get away from this. CK has pretty high base movement speed, 325. The Daywalker's leading the charge, so they scout this out, and unless there's a complete misplay, there shouldn't be any blood spilling just yet. So let's start off looking over at the Everlast lineup once again. This is the AOC Pro Cup Round 2 upper bracket in Day 3. Shout out to AOC for the sponsorship of the tournament, and now looking over at the Radiant corner, we see Everlast Gaming. Or Gamefilling, actually. Everlast.Gamefilling, an interesting name. But they're going to be starting things off. A great sentry ward. Oh my gosh, that's such a perfect sentry. If that was slightly off, that would have been bad. But they claim the sentry. Night Stalker can't hit it, and they're going to just throw it right outside the range again. They want this camp locked off, this central camp.
Oh, I thought it was in range. Damn, that would have been unlucky.
Well, they're fine with leaving that one up because it's not doing anything now. So essentially they're just going to put this one up here, take it out of range, and make sure that there is no way for that. Well, if they want to deward it, they're going to have to exhaust their second sentry. But yeah, now we're going to look at the formal rosters of Everlast, starting with Naki, going to be picking up the Chen, going for the Sentry Smoke startup, as most Chens do, and pulling up the Queen of Pain, who's going to do well mid. Looking at the bottom lane, it is going to be the safe lane Chaos Knight carry. Superfly going to pick that up, while Bunksel Roti is going to go toe-to-toe with the Night Stalker in the mid. Again, starting with the null tally, 64 average base damage, and is a cool 2 tangos to go for that bottle. On the top lane, it's going to be Solotic running the off-lane Slark, starting off with Essence Shift, which may or may not be a mistake. We'll have to see if he needs his spellcast within the first couple of levels, but the final hero on the roster of Everlast, the tie qualifiers, this is TNT running the support Wisp and trying to get his 6 as fast as possible with these pulls.
And over on the side of Arrow, in the aggressive offlane, we've got Juggernaut played by BSG. We've in the top lane played by Lance. Jakiro being handled by Zhangzai. Next Assassin in the tri lane being handled by Mosin. And of course, finally in the mid, Superstar DDZ taking on the Queen of Pain. Should be a relatively tough lineup for him. I mean, as you mentioned, the ability to spam the Shadow Strike and get a little bit of cut him out the lane and push him off the lane quite a bit, as well as you get that levels up.
Naki, are you serious? This could be the perfect timing. The Courier bringing out the bottle. 2 right clicks required. 2 are delivered. That's a Courier kill, and Night Stalker is out of mana.
Oh, damn, that is a bit unfortunate. As I was saying, yeah, once he gets at level 3 up in the Scream of Pain, he's able to control the creep wave quite well, and since he will have a bottle...
Rotating down bottom, oh, the Impale will be dodged out, Superfly dodging out the Ice Path as well. This is perfect from him, 325 movement speed, using it perfectly, is able to avoid the body block as well, and they're not able to follow up with a spin. Either one of those stuns hitting, they take out at least half the CK's life with that Blade Fury, but instead, he walks away all relatively unscathed.
Yeah, I think they're pretty angry now that the Darkstalker's bottle was denied and the courier was killed. Man, imagine items still dropped out of the courier. Remember those days? Those were nightmares. But he's going to slow DDZ down quite a bit. I mean, he won't have that bottle up. He won't be able to get a little bit of farm with his Void. Queen of Pain will pretty much control this entire lane now, sitting up on the high ground, not afraid of anything. And they're going to get 1 kill with the Void, but yeah, that's really unfortunate. At the same time, Chen in the aggressive jungle will be helping out Slark as much as he can. Isn't able to zone Lance out of the lane just yet, but he could actually be spotted out here. Create a couple of hits.
Yeah, just going to throw some back and forth. I think Lance can take it up for the most part. He still has a Tango, he's getting that Basilius armor, and he can take the hits, but if there's continuous presence of Naki on the lane, it's going to be very frustrating for him. Fortunately, the Pounce does not connect, so he's going to be able to throw out a Geminate and then continue to walk away if he even feels that aggressive. But all the same, the top lane is going to be difficult for Lance, and he's going to get no support from Arrow. They're very focused on trying to pin down this CK, trying to make sure this IO doesn't get the farm that he's looking for. Also, TNT pulling right now is actually pretty bad for them because they are aggressive. They are willing to dive, and as Superfly is without creeps, it's very easy for them to connect on a stun. So TNT pulling it, and they're going to hide underneath their tower. But this siege creep coming in, this next creep wave, is actually going to do a lot of damage to the tower, and there's nothing that CK can do about it. If he pulls this wave, I really feel like Nyx or Jakiro could have just jumped on him right there, instead harassing back the IO. And I guess it's not going to be that big of a deal.
Yeah, they're just going to farm the creeps, I think, and try. They pulled them across quite nicely as well. Back to the top lane, I mean, with Naki in the jungle, I mean, he's relatively safe here. As you said, the supports aren't going to rotate yet. I feel like they should really start making things happen in this bottom lane, though. BSG is getting relatively safe farm, 18 for 2. It's not too bad at the 4-minute mark. But he's left alone here. He can be a little bit of trouble, but he has got spin. He's trying to bait out the spin with the S cancel on the Chaos Bolt.
Yeah, essentially that does... it's not that big of a deal, though, because of the inversion that's been recently nerfed on the Chaos Bolt. If he gets stunned for a long time, he doesn't take much damage. If he takes a bunch of damage, he's not going to be stunned for a very long time. So either way, he's nowhere near a life-threatening presence, and he has that healing ward to fall back on. So he feels pretty good about himself there. This CPSR picks up that double damage rune, looking for his ultimate pretty soon, but every single time he comes up for the Scream, DDZ is wise enough to back off. Now with the Hunter... Oh, bottom... No, okay. Now with the Hunter of the Night up, he does have that boost of movement speed, and that's going to help out a lot. Along with that, his Courier is coming out with both Boots and Bottle. So he's going to feel a lot better in the lane now than he was a few minutes ago, but it's taken a long time to get there, and he's going to pretty much just be making up for lost ground this first night. Going to go some damage on BSR, but he's already level 6, and kind of take it as he receives it. and is able to pretty much hold his own on the lane, looking for the 6-minute rune.
I feel the shift in night time from 6 to 4 minutes has, I don't know, what do you think about its effect on a Night Stalker? I mean, in the first 6 minute night, I mean, he could have done quite a bit more. I think got some different items, but at the moment, I don't know. It feels like
bottom lane. This could actually be pretty bad. Coming in, BSR has double damage rune. A couple of right clicks is all they need to bring down Xiangzai. They get him, and now we're going to look at BSG. Look at how much damage he takes. He might have 7 armor, but the stun comes out, and they get a double. Wow. First blood, double kill, bottom lane with the rotation of BSR. Just amazing.
The Superfly got the double kill. No, he didn't. Sorry, it was
Chen in a bad spot on mid. He should fall here. Night Stalker's quick enough, but trying to juke him, knowing that he can't A-click or risk turning around on the creeps. A silence on the Satyr, so the shockwave won't come. Is that going to actually save his life? Because that is incredible. That is quite amazing. So he does get his nice little kill, but it is only on a level 4 Chen. Either way, it's something rather than just sitting on the mid lane and not accomplishing much at all. As well, he will find the regen rune on the top, so all in all, actually getting something very nice done.
However, another double kill for Superfly. We saw him get the double kill last game as well, in the solo mid on the Doom. So hopefully he gets a similar start. Queen of Pain picks up her trades as well. And yeah, I was talking about the Night Stalker Nighttime, and I guess it's fantastic if you can pick up a kill on the Chen. Why are people so many... Oh, the prize...
it's the server's kind of catching up for rare distribution.
Yeah. So I don't know. Nighttime, it seems to be doing really well, going really well at the moment for DDZ. Picks up 1 kill, and I was more thinking in terms of the items with the Nighttime changing that you used to be able to get boots and earn by about 6 minutes, and then you could really do some damage. But now it seems it's boots bottle. It's really all there is to the Nighttime for Night Stalker.
Yeah, but I mean that's sufficient in of its own self. It essentially means a couple of different things. First of all, he can never opt for level 6 for extending the first night immediately. He has to wait until it's like halfway done, because you're always going to be, even if you get a kill, you're still going to be about level 5 right when nighttime hits. Your general skill build is to avoid darkness for quite some time, but in this case it does look like DDZ wants to focus on longevity rather than potency for night number 1. And but the big shift is that you don't need to get too much done in the first night, but you also are less capable of doing so. Essentially, the second night coming sooner makes it so if you don't get too many kills in night number 1, it's not the end of the world, but it also means that it's that much less likely, and you're not going to be able to maybe kill off IO 3 times before relocate. It's far less viable in that regard. So there's a trade-off for sure, but I think that he does have a lot more going for him in this position, at least for the next minute or so, because he's got that solo kill, and although BSR helped out with those kills on bottom, she didn't get either of them, and so DDZ is still kind of trying to be the controlling factor. Actually, right now, speaking of, Chen is controlling this bottom rune, and that could have been bad if Night Stalker tried to dip in for that haste.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't leave it for the Queen of Pain to come grab, and maybe to look for a little gang on the bottom. But one lane we've kind of forgotten about is actually top lane. We're going to see Solitech probably go down here. He does have a leaf to get away. Yeah, actually. Oh, wow. Lance taking quite a bit of damage from the tower, quite a bit of harassment. Does have 1 Tango and a couple of stick charges to keep him alive, but that was really close. I mean, we haven't really been paying much attention to the off lane as Solitech and
BSG down on bottom, gonna spin out, but gets rooted up by the Dark Troll Summoner. This is actually pretty good for them, but of course he is level 5, he does have those boots, and he did go and retreat. I was actually kind of surprised he retreated, seeing as Night Stalker was just rotating. A bit of miscommunication perhaps, but either way, yeah, like you said, most of the action has been down here on bottom or in the mid, and therefore it's very difficult to keep tabs on what is actually one of the more important lanes. This 1v1 matchup that was between Slark and Weaver, now between the Queen of Pain and... there's action all across the map. We're going to see BSG drop down to the right clicks, and again that Chen Dark Troll Summoner root, but in mid, Solidic getting a very nice pounce on the Nyx Assassin who had already used Carapace. That guarantees him the kill there, and actually Nyx's, Jeez, kills everywhere, I can't even call it, dang! Gonna go in, bursting down to try to kill off Lance, but he time-lapses in the face of the Queen of Pain ulti. The Sonic Wave was about to come down, and instead, Lance just dodges it out very, very carefully. Back in the mid lane, the slowed down Daywalker taking a lot of hits here. The pass coming up, and that's going to be a kill. 5 for 1 in favor of Everlast as DDZ goes down for the first time this game. So very close, very back and forth. Quite chaotic, but luckily able to snag most of what's been going on, at least on the camera, if not in my words.
Wow. Okay, so Everlast are starting out pretty much the same way they did the past game, and it started exactly the same way with the super flat double kill. So we could be looking at a very similar game. I mean, they don't have the Wombo combo team fight this time, but they do have some great pick-off potential. Once again, Lance could be the saving grace here. Is still trying to go for a Hand of no, probably just going to be his trades, actually, not Hand of Midas. I was thinking he might be wanting to go for the Hand of Midas. But he's not having a fantastic start, and Solitic actually didn't do too terrible in that off lane. 37 CS on him, and he has got his trades up a lot sooner than what BSG had it in the previous game for Arrow. But yeah, we've got rotation in the middle now by Mosin, level 5 on that on the next assassin. So maybe looking to try to pick off a kill. They still haven't picked off TNT. TNT actually is 103, and that's actually pretty fantastic. I mean, like I said, especially against an aggressive tri lane, having your IO not die once is pretty massive.
Yeah, he's now got his level 6 though, and he's gonna just buy out Magic 1 and Dust. Wants to try to get some kills early, maybe on the Nyx, maybe on really whoever he sees fit. As far as who he's bringing in, it's mostly gonna be Superfly, since he is just gonna be going in for an armlet as quickly as possible, and they want to make sure that he's gonna be very active, dishing out a lot of damage. So yeah, that's going to be the main focus, is relocating him to key targets as they scout them out, but that requires ward vision, which, as you see, isn't that prevalent right now. They have a lane ward down on the bottom lane, they have a rune ward towards the turtle ward here, but beyond that, they don't really have any offensive coverage, and so it's going to be hard to bring down Lance, for example, just with Dust of Appearance alone. Yeah,
I mean, Weaver is such a slippery hero, and you spoke about in the draft about them maybe comboing it up with something to make it even more annoying, like a Dazzle or a Abaddon. But yeah, in this case, I mean, Lance, he's an aggressive player, and sometimes it usually always works in his advantage. I mean, you don't kind of expect the Weaver to do certain things, like kind of like this right here, diving in and knowing that. Oh
wow! They have the vision on him too. They're gonna get him. Wow, very nicely done. Very, very nicely done. Just jumping in. Getting the Crypt Swarm is actually extremely important, but we do see damage coming in bottom. It is going to be a pull-in onto BSG, 4 seconds done. Plenty of time to bring him down. Now I'll get some nice gold to move in towards, I guess he doesn't have to go Mechanism, but we'll see how he wants to build. Looking for a dive with that increased movement speed, but Jakiro will have none of that, wisely falling back. Being one of the more easy heroes to bring down. I mean, he's very projected in his animations. His turn rate, although improved, is still a little weak, and it's really easy to just catch him off guard if you have that massive movement speed that we're seeing from the Slark and the CK.
Yeah. And Chen actually spoke about the Mechanism, and I don't know, TNT could maybe still go for it, but I definitely think it's going to be the Chen. When Chen goes straight for the Arcane Boots, it makes you kind of think maybe somebody else might grab up the Mechanism, but in this case, you know, they do have I think they do have a better chance in the late game. Well, I don't know, Weaver and Juggernaut make things a little bit hard. I mean, Nightstock on the other hand in his own can start wrecking throughout the game, but I don't know, Slark as well as Queen of Pain as well as top lane, Slark as well as Queen of Pain as well as Chaos Knight just make life so hard, especially when you have that annoying combo of the teleports. Relocate, sorry.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, they have a lot going for them right now, a lot of aggression with the global presence. They just kind of need to find a good position where they can get some lockdown. Queen of Pain has the burst, but they still need to find a place for a stun, and that's where Slayer comes in. He lands a pounce, they relocate on top of that immediately. Even if they're going in against 2 or 3 heroes, they're bringing the party to them, so they're going to be able to have at least a number equalizer, if not an advantage there. So there are a lot of different targets they can go on. If they get the pounce on the Weaver, they can force out his time lapse early, otherwise he's just going to get dusted and killed. And there's a couple other targets that they can look at, but for right now, surprisingly bloodless. We're just looking at some action down on the bottom tower as the Dark Troll Summoner sustains the push with these little skeletons, and it looks like the tier 1 will fall. Meanwhile, Lance taking a lot of hits from that pounce, but not enough to stop it, so we're going to go back down to bottom where the spin will come out. The stun onto Mosin though, and Dice Stalker cleaning up on IO. Easy pickings there. They will get the Impale on Superfly. This is going to be a double, but it looks like Slark should not get in on this action at all. Superfly will be finished off by the Void. That is a nice cleanup, but I think they did last hit the tower. Yes, CK got it. So at the very least, they got something, though of course they did get set back a little bit by those 2 deaths.
Yeah, slight trade. I mean, in their favor as well, still sitting ahead by 4,000 gold and about 3,500-3,000 experience. So they're also holding on to a small little lead here. And I must say one thing about this game is that the Slark Solitic has actually had a much better game than BSG had the last game. So we could see probably a lot more effective Slark, especially picking up those drums last night as well. He's level 11, so he has that regen, the 5% regen health gain back. He's going to do a lot of damage, I think, if he continues this way. Sitting at 101, 54 CS at 15 minutes. Not the best, but it's a lot better than the offlane Slark we saw last game.
Yeah.
At the same time, Bunksaroti going straight for a Scythe of Vast by the looks of things, or it could be into a Lincoln Sphere. I'm not too sure why. Possibly a Lincoln Sphere, not wanting to get silenced out in the middle of a team fight by the Night Stalker. So that's interesting that he's going to go straight for that. Speaking of Lincoln Sphere, it looks like it's going to be that for the Weaver as well. As we still haven't seen a relocate gang yet from TNT as well as Superfly. So he's got that armlet up now. So we might see one little rotation sometime soon.
Yeah, it's actually kind of surprising that Lance opted for the Midas prior to the Lincoln Sphere. I mean, if he can pull it off, awesome. Getting that investment in the mid to late game is very potent, and it'll still be able to get that Lincoln Sphere at a good time. But if these relocates were coming sooner and these pounces were the setup for it, I think Lance would actually be regretting that decision pretty hard. Luckily for him, Everlast hasn't turned on the gas just yet, and so the kill count is still 6 for 4, which, although high for some games, is pretty medium for these two teams. So overall, Lance is still going to get some space, get some free time to farm away and to try to move in towards bigger and better things, including the Lincoln Sphere, but also focusing on what comes next.
Yep, a little bit of warding going now for Shanghai, trying to ward up the river. There's a lot of rotations coming out from Everlast as well, and they've taken the tier 1 bot, tier 1 mid as well. Superfly picked up both towers, so he's bursting in gold. I mean, 800 gold at the moment, and probably going to go for the BKB next. But you look at Slark, and Slark actually has drums trades as well as probably going to go straight into that BKB2. I mean, it's pretty important in this game, especially as I mentioned, fighting close proximity to a Jakiro and getting caught by Ice Path and Macropie and Jewel Breath and all that. So going for the BKB makes a lot of sense. But on the other hand, I'm still interested to see what Bunksal Roti's going to go for.
Yeah. A couple of options there, so I mean, we'll have to see long term. Obviously, he's not going for anything like an Aghanims or something for Burst Nuke. He really wants to get some utility from his items, but down up on top, there is going to be the silence coming out. Slark, he will dispel it, does have both his spells up, and he's actually going to go onto Lance, I believe. Oh, looking at the tower, they will fortify it up. This is where the fight will ensue. 2 Centaurs in position, but some great stuns from the Nyx. We do see Solid taking a lot of damage here, despite using his ultimate. We do see the relocate in. Superfly going to try to pound on DDZ, but he's pretty tanky right now, and the Omnislash will just clean up the Wisp. Now Superfly locked in position, silenced up. They will get the Impale off once more. It looks like they will lose one more hero here, but the remainder will get out relatively unscathed. So yeah, blinking on Mosin. Yeah, he's dead for sure. But they got out with the Juggernaut and the Night Stalker. The problem is they didn't finish this tower. They left it in deny range. That's going to get denied 100%, and they did lose out on the kill exchange. So all in all, the fact that Lance died on the western end here, it doesn't matter that Everlast diverted their forces because they still got the upper end of the trade.
Yeah, Lance dropping down there was a bit crazy for them to dive so deep, especially with the going for the Hand of Midas makes it hard because you're not going to have those items you needed to the mid game, and we are pretty much into the mid game. I think looking at the pace at which this is going with, again, Everlast are making things happen all over the map, and going for something like a Hand of Midas on your Weaver, forcing him now to go trade this well before that Lincoln Sphere. If you look at the last game, Lincoln Sphere should have been coming up relatively soon now for the Weaver, who had relatively safe farms. So it's a bit hard that they would dive so deep, but like I said, Lance is just one of those players. I must mention the Chen, that last fight. I mean, getting the stun and the wave with the Sato as well. That was really well played, catching out the Juggernaut as he tried to retreat, and that was fantastic. And once again, looks like they're not giving up on top. They want to go again. Oh,
easy pick on DDZ. 2-second stun is plenty here. He will be dropped down after one more right click, actually trying to bottle up Magic Wand, but finally Test of Faith down. So it took a lot longer than I expected to finish him off, and now they see the Ice Path come out, some damage from the spin, but at the worst case they can relocate away. Superfly taking a lot of hits here, trying to do work with the armlet. He needs to be relocated. No, he's not going to be sent home just yet. He's just going to tank through it with the armlet, and in the meantime, Queen of Pain is delivering the herd. BSR brings down 2. Now looking at Lance, who time lapses back to 75%, but gets pounced, dragged, and stunned back down. Oh, what a great fight for Everlast, as they are just cleaning house here. And it just doesn't feel like Arrow have anything going for them. I have to attribute this in part due to their selection. Going Midas on 2 heroes may be good against killing Chen's creeps, but it's not good at the 19-minute mark when you're being dived under your towers. This, on top of the fact that Jakiro hasn't really contributed much more than an Ice Path or 2 per fight, and they really just feel like they don't have much going for them.
Man, Everlast are just breaking hearts. I mean, this is upsetting everyone. First they beat Zephyr, the favorites. Now they're pretty much on the road to taking out Arrow if they continue this. I mean, Goldgraph is sitting at 10k now, 7,500 experience or about 8,000 experience lead. So it's really, it's insane. And again, we might see the upset on our hand here. Just the draft at the same time. You spoke about maybe a little bit of the two hands of Midas. That, in my opinion, is a little bit of a mistake, as they don't have the items to fight in the mid game.
Yeah.
If they had the drums phase point booster at the moment on BSG as he heads towards that scepter, or he has a Yasha or something like that, they would have had a lot more team fight potential. But at the moment, yeah, they're struggling quite a bit, and Lance is going to get a really, really, really late Lincoln Sphere, and I fear it might be a bit too late if they continue to pick him off.
Yeah. I mean, you look at this graph and you say, where is your Midas now? This is a 12,000 gold advantage going the way of your opponents, and it's all because they have the momentum. Yes, you will secure the late game. If they can turtle this up, it's beautiful. But for right now, you're getting relocated, you're losing one of your 3 tier 2s, and they have all the kill momentum. They have a CK now farmed up towards a BKB after his armlet. They have the Queen of Pain with her Scythe of Vice. And as we've been talking about, Solotic is getting farmed as well. Get out on the Slark too. It may seem like just a couple of items here and there, just casual drums, treads, Mithril Hammer, but this allows Slark to explode into around the 30-minute mark, where he can just do devastating amounts of damage during Shadow Dance, and there's nothing to stop him. Now they take the tier 2 on bottom. They're going to look at Roche, and what can Arrow do? Macropyre is great here, but Xiangzai has to be in position with brown booties. Easier said than done. They're going to go for a wraparound now, and it looks like Lance might be the target. We'll see. Actually, no. Completely scouted out. They won't find any kills, but just scaring them off the creep wave. That's going to be the presence they need.
They can go straight for the tier 2 if they want to the middle lane. I don't think there's much that Arrow can do about this. I mean, there's, as you mentioned, Ice Path, Macropyre, Dual Breath, but at the same time, they're just going to pick the Jakiro off. I mean, they'll just blink on straight on forward, and BKB now on the Slark as well. The Hex with Scythe of Vice, as you mentioned, on the Queen of Pain, so that's going to be third tower going down, and that's...
Oh, Hex, instead of Omni Slash, is she going to get the solo kill with the double damage? Yes, she is. Beautiful play from him. They actually got the relocate just in case he tried to turn it around and did survive, but... Don't worry, Bunkcell Ortiz got this. DD Rune easy peasy. But they're going to try to go for the rubber band. Do they have the test of faith? It doesn't look like it, so this is going to be a dead wisp. Unless he gets a perfect tether out. A beautiful tether to Noki. And he's just going to walk away. That is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, that was really well played. I mean, you spoke about the test of faith gimmick, maybe be able to send him back to base in time, but Chen actually might have come in for that, but instead hang around for the tether straight back in. And now they're looking to be a little bit aggressive. They don't have any wards in the enemy jungle. They have the one, sorry, over here, but anything on this side of the map is pretty dark. And I mean, they still Roshan, as you mentioned. Roshan is available, and Superfly now picks up his BKB. I mentioned his BKB on the Slark as well. And if you look at the items, I mean, it's just crazy. There's so much on the side of Everlast and not really much. I mean, 1 BKB up on DDZ, 2 hands of Midas, as you mentioned. And looking at the net worth as well, I mean, we have the 3 cores from Everlast sitting right at the top there in the net worth, just showing that further advantage that they have in terms of gold, up to about 13,000 now.
Yeah, this is just looking really bad. They still have comeback potential, but it's going to take a long time to get there. Both carries need something more substantial to really bring themselves to the next thing. Lance just finished up Lincoln Sphere. That's a really good step in the right direction. If Everlast keep ignoring their potential to take Roche, that's also very helpful for them, because right now, as a dire team without a tier 2 in either mid or bottom, Roche is really easy pickings for Everlast. But since they are still looking for kills, if they look for kills and don't find them, that's more time for Midas to come off cooldown and for the comeback to potentially occur. But still, it's a long road from the 14,000 gold disadvantage, and they're going to have to play this very close to the chest. Yeah, well, smoking to Roshan now, and I guess Clark can just leap in if he wants to, with Chen making his way over there, dragging the whole creep wave as well. I think you realize now I can't really go in there, but they're not. As you said, they can't contest Roche at all. They rather just have to group up in the middle lane. Oh no, they're gonna try it. This smoke, they won't be seen by the Observer Ward, and they do have the Macropyre. If everything goes perfect, they can do it, but more often than not, you're gonna run into a Slark, and then you're gonna be like, oh well, they will see us coming. We're not gonna go. Mosin looking for the stun, but it immediately is dispelled. He saw the Dark Pact charging, and he didn't even take it into consideration. Now they don't have an Aghanims, they can't see in the pit. They are just going to be sitting on the outside, popping BKBs, and wasting their time here. Solodic does do a little bit of the same with his own BKB. Jumping in, though, BSR goes for a Hex on the hasted lance. BSR will drop down quickly, but he has the Aegis. Coming back into it, the Hand of God a little late. Pulling back in DDZ. 3-second stun is enough to bring him down. And now they'll switch over to Lance. If they can get a stun on him, he's dead. Oh, the time lapse needs to be used, but he is... Oh, wow, dodges the ulti. Dodges the Sonic Wave, and he will be able to Shikuchi out. But will it be enough to actually speed him away? Headed for the hills, headed to the west. And it looks like he is down and out, but... Relocate? Might say otherwise. Oh, great juke. Back down the other way. Shikuchi to the double damage rune, and I think he does get out. We'll see if there's really perfect pounce. Oh, the sheep, and the pounce, and Lance is locked in. He's invisible, but not for long. The Geometry Sight catches up with him finally, and they will bring him down. So,
top tower.
That was such a crazy chase.
Yeah. Haste away, little bug, but it's just a wild goose chase that does end with a dead goose.
Yep, and now Queen of Pain straight back to the bottom lane, massive wave. She's going for a BKB as well. I mean, obviously the jumping in there, getting silenced out immediately from the Night Stalker. You know, bit of a waste of the eggs of the Immortal. Didn't get all her spells down. Could have thrown out a Sonic Wave if she wasn't hexed, if she wasn't silenced up, and damage in that fight would have gone a lot quicker for Everlast. But yeah, obviously being in a little bit of trouble there and losing the eggs of the Immortal again. Now we have an invisible Superfly here. And there isn't actually a gem available on TNT, so I don't know what they're doing. They're just.
I think they're stalking the courier. They're gonna try to go for the courier. They do Vendetta.
Oh,
that's a shame.
Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate. And so the Everlast now, they're just doing exactly everything right once again. They're roaming around the map, picking up kills here and there, kind of forcing Arrow into awkward situations where they commit 1 or 2 heroes in. Those heroes just get bursted down by Queen of Pain or sleep left on by Slark. So yeah, moving to the jungle now to try to catch up on farm, but I don't know, those Midases,
now it's warded up though, so this is actually pretty dangerous for them.
Those Midases are just not working for them at the moment.
I mean, what do you think about how that fight started off? The fact that they came in on the high ground towards the western side of the Roche pit, and Night Stalker had to pop his BKB outside the pit. They never actually went in. Instead, Everlast got to pick and choose who would go in first. The Queen of Pain, so she could pop the Aegis and use her sheep, and so on and so forth. It kind of felt like they strung Arrow out where they could kind of decide how the engagement occurred, and I don't know. It looked like a weird position for Arrow to try to fight, and as we were saying, it didn't look like they had any chance of fighting in the pit itself. But they still went for it, and obviously it didn't turn out so great.
Look, they had complete control of that team fight, as well as a good engagement with the Aegis of the Immortal. Unfortunately, getting silenced out quick fast fingers from DDZ, they've kind of, as I said, nullified their full effect, where they could have maybe put a little bit of pressure onto the tier 3. But at the moment, it's still an extended long night time, and DDZ... There's not a lot of gold, 1,300 there, but I did see finally... Oh, here we go.
Yeah, he has his BKB up at his disposal if they try to come in on top of him, but it looks like they're just going to try to invis away. And, Link will pop off the stun. I really don't think either side really wants to fight this. The Everlast can't break the tier 3 without the Aegis just yet, and at least not without a pickoff. And, of course, Arrow cannot fight outside their base, so it's kind of a standoff, a little bit of an impasse.
Well, they can look for a pick-off. I mean, they've got the Reality Rift down to the low ground. They can look to try to grab out the Weaver, or not, the Weaver has got Lincolns now. Yeah, I don't know, there's a couple of things they can do here, and I think just brute force down the tower. I think that's probably the best way to go about it.
So far so good, bring it down to 600 plus HP. BSG getting pulled in, but they're going to get a nice stun on Superfly. However, he's so tanky with his armlet. The Reality, and now coming in with the BKB, hammering away a bad slow game, but having to retreat. The Slark already gone. This fight was over at its inception. Now we do see Io getting silenced up, has a TP scroll, but no chance to use it. Omnislash on the eastern flank brings down Chen. That's 2 supports dead, and I gotta ask, you must have seen it better than I did. How did Slark get picked so quick?
He got just shut down. I mean, there was a nice stun coming out from Mix Assassin that caught like 3 or 4 of them. He got silenced up, I think, as well. He popped his BKB relatively early, sort of into the mid of the fight. I think the biggest problem there was Queen of Pain not casting much of her spells. I mean, the Sonic Wave, I don't even think she was involved in that team fight at all.
Okay. The one thing I'm not getting is, how did Slark not get his Shadow Dance off if he had his BKB up? That's the one thing that I can't find out.
He used his BKB, he used his Shadow Dance I don't think he did. I think he got chain stunned after his BKB ended up. I think he maybe was trying to look to go into a Shadow Dance, but I don't think he actually even used it. I mean, I was busy watching the I was watching the
CK was big and large in a charge right in the front, so that's what drew my attention. But
and Chen as well got solo Omni Slash to try to TP away. He tried to do the 4-staff TP thing, and he just got followed by BSG and Omni Slashed. That does give them a little bit of breathing room now. I mean, maybe to get up a couple more items, as we saw the Lincoln Sphere already completed on Lance. So he's got 2,400 gold now. He can look to go for something like an MKB or a Butterfly or something like that, just to help him out. Maybe go straight into the Manta Style, pick up the Yasha. If he sports something, it is going to be a BKB. So playing it extremely safe this game, and like we said, they have got their hands on Midas and they can push this into the late game.
Yeah, it's definitely possible for them to get there, but they still have a long road to climb. Right now they're up against a lot of BKBs. Queen of Pain having a 10-second one fresh, the Slark running on an 8-second one, and the CK having used his twice as well. So that is in a position, like, if the Slark actually, if Solitech goes in the teamfight like properly and times his ulti so that he doesn't have to worry about anything forthcoming, they can really just do so much more work in that fight. But losing the Slark so early, I guess because he popped his BKB way too early, and then once it dispelled, he was fish food for all these stuns. So that was very unfortunate for him that he couldn't Shadow Dance, and from once he was gone, the fight was over. That's the sad thing. Like, CK can do a lot of damage, but he's still level 14 out of 16. He needs to get that 3rd point in Phantasm, and in general, there's some good choke point AoE coming from Arrow, so they can turtle it up. I mean, like I said, they when I was priming for that fight, I was saying Everlast really don't want to go in there, but they showed that they had different intentions. They were very ambitious about it, but it turned completely against them. Now Superfly getting stunned up. He has a BKB, probably going to have to use it just to TP away. Luckily, Omni Slash to cancel. Very nicely done by Juggernaut. And with a quick silence on Io, his relocate gets canceled out, and he won't be able to escape. Instead, getting charged down, it will take a moment for them to kill him, but if fall, he will. That was just an ugly position for those two.
Wow, are we seeing a comeback here? Goldgraph dropping almost 5k down to 10k lead, so Everlast slowly on the decline, 8k experience lead as well. And man, this could be terrible if this game starts swinging now. I mean, they had everything in the bag. I guess in terms of team fight now, it starts favoring Arrow quite a bit, especially with the next assassin just landing almost every stun, Ice Path, as I mentioned, Macropire. And of course, the big factor here is that heal being put down by the Juggernaut, by BSG, every team fight is just giving everybody so much regen, and the sustainability during the team fights. I mean, next assassin's getting 1 or 2 more spells off. You have your Nightstalker just tanking up like crazy, and himself has picked up a Heaven's Halberd now too. So that's going to really affect the Slark. That's really going to affect the CK.
Yeah, very, very difficult to deal with now. I mean, even if you just use it on the Queen of Pain after her BKB expires, that's a even longer duration disarm on a hero that's been using double damage rune after double damage rune, and is flaunting 153 base damage due to the Scythe of Vice. So things have been looking pretty good for her, and if you can pin her down either with a Crippling Fear or a Halberd afterwards, you can either give them a substantial mischance or nullify their attacks 100%. So it's good against the Slug, it's good against the Queen of Pain, and if you can take the illusions down, it's not too bad against Superfly either. So it's in general great. Oh wow, BSG in a weird spot. I don't think it's going to work. Gonna go for the spin TP, but he's already too far gone. Yeah, they had the Troll Warlord trap, but they didn't even need it because of how much damage they'd already done. Meanwhile, on top lane, this is just pick off Dota. Queen of Pain gonna have to blink away. Luckily, with that haste rune, there's really no threat to her life.
So it looks like Lance sold his Ogre Club to go for Desolator instead, because I'm 100% sure, and this is not like your this is not like your
no, don't even bring up the Dragonite pipe. Don't even.
Okay, well, I am 100% certain I saw a Mithril Hammer as well as a Ogre Club on the stash. So he must have sold it and gone for the Desolator instead. Obviously, winning a couple of team fights, noticing that he can now start playing like he really wants to, and like they've Lance people know and love, where he just plays aggressively, dives in the back, gets a couple of kills. However, Roshan is getting smacked down here by Everlast, so they need to respond. This is the time they've got to respond to this, and I don't know if they'll be able to do it quick enough.
We'll see. I mean, right now it's the popping Natural Nighttime, Artificially Enhanced, and the Swarm is scouting everything out. So even with the double damage rune, they don't feel confident finishing this off. Maybe if his armor was a little bit less, the upgrade path that he recently got buffed was a little bit lower, then maybe they could have finished it fast enough. But not feeling confident, they're instead going to turn around, canceling out Lance's Lincolns with the Shadow Strike. But now Bunxo Roti dropping pretty low, does not have an Aegis, just the BKB, but they're charging in. They pop the Phantasms, and all these cooldowns are wasted. BKB, Phantasm, no sir. Arrow walks away, very easily done by them. Oh wow, actually gonna go Naki, gonna hit however DDZ. They're gonna get the stun up on him despite the Ghost Scepter, taking tons of magic damage, but gets the Hand of God, and he will stay up. Nyx, on the other hand, dropped down by the Sonic Wave, but the Phantasms are gonna get killed off in the process, so technically a 1-for-1, but now this 4-for-4 I think is actually stronger for Arrow without these Phantasms or Sonic Wave.
Yeah, they can go for the Roshan now as well, which will give them a much needed little boost back into the game. Everlast, on the other hand, are looking to maybe jump straight back in and try contest this Roshan, although fighting with that healing ward down is a problem, but it's going to die down over here, and they're both really on the retreat, and Nyx Assassin is going to be back sooner. Chen unfortunately popped Hand of God and Mechanism in that last team fight, so no Hand of God will come through if he does spawn in time while the Roshan is still going down, but there's going to be a little bit of space up here.
Solitech does have the Scotty, but that means he also has no buyback. He's going to have to be very careful here, popping the Shadow Dance to escape, and with the Shadow Dance on CD, I think they feel good about this. I think Jakiro coming in, he has the Macro Pyre, they have the Ice Path. This is a great position for them to be in to try to pursue the Roche with Desolator damage coming in, but it's dropping low, not fast enough as Solitech comes in to try to force them back. They're going to go for the Silent Superfly pop in the BKB, no ulti, but still hammering away, but it's Solitech at the front end. This is a terrible death, no BKB used, and he has no buyback. He is out of this fight, and now they're just going to burst on Queen of Pain with the Juggernaut ultimate. Everlast losing a lot of very, very important heroes. Queen of Pain does have the buyback, but it's certainly not going to be enough to contest the Roshan, as it is now going down. It looks like Weaver is going to double back for that BKB. Now they has the Aegis, and Superfly caught out without a BKB. Wow. Oh no! TNT tried to relocate him out, and now he's back too. Please at least test of faith this. Naki, you gotta save him. The Chen, hoofing it, goes for the Force Staff. Please do it, Chen. Not fast enough, he's gone. The Wisp is going down. Oh, the ball bounces once, a bit of a dribble before they claim a fourth hero in a spree that goes right down mid lane. Tier 1, Tier 2, let's look to the Tier 3 as Arrow Gaming are amassing an incredible comeback. 20 seconds left on Queen of Pain's timer, does not want to have to buy back. So they fortify it up, they have Phantasms, but that's all they've got. Slark, Queen of Pain, they're buying back on the IO, and they're going to force it at the racks.
Oh, look at top lane.
Gonna go in, BKB, up on Superfly, up on DDZ. They're just hammering in, doing a lot of damage right now. It is actually gonna be Solitech in the thick of things, who's popping off all his cooldowns here. Has no Shadow Dance, has no BKB. And Weaver just got his off the courier. Now their time is ticking, as you mentioned, the creep wave is pushing on the top. But I don't know if it's going to be enough. It's enough to force them back and say, we can't take this, but they got so much out of that last fight. They still have their Aegis. They just got a fresh BKB 10 seconds on Lance. They hold their top, and they cleaned up Everlast.
Yeah. I mean, that was a great team fight as well. I think they could have done a bit more. I mean, they got a great stun off as well. They forced out the BKB on the CK. They could have maybe turned around and done a bit more damage. They still have that Aegis of the Immortal on the Weaver, so that was really Lance's opportunity to dive as hard as he wants to and try to pick off a kill or two. But instead, they played it safe. We saw the lane pushing in. We might have seen the CK and the Wisp TP to the top lane to try and pick off that tower and maybe force them out. But they got out in any case, and it was a bit unfortunate. I think Arrow could have really put more pressure on that Rax there, and you know, as you mentioned, Slark and CK burnt out all their cooldowns in a matter of seconds when that fight started under the tier 3. By the tier 3 of the Rax, and they didn't do much with it. So yeah, doing exactly that. DDZ and Lance, BSG joining in as well. Are going to go straight back down the middle lane.
Yeah, nothing to stop them really. They've got all their ultis up. They've got nighttime at their beck and call, and so they're gonna go in. Right now, Phantasm cooling down for 35 more seconds. That's 20 seconds too many in my mind. They're gonna go for the melee racks, and Everlast is gonna be a little bit short in this fight, but they still have a lot of damage. The Slark does have the Scotty. If he can use his ulti and his BKB appropriately, this should still be possible to fight. But right now, dropping though the racks, they have no fortification. They're gonna pull in Lance. since Lincoln's is down, but they either don't have the gem anymore. Yeah, they don't have the gem anymore, so they couldn't go for the Chaos Bolt to follow. A Chaos Bolt would have locked them in and started that fight off well with forcing the Aegis, but instead, a full HP Weaver with Lincoln's Aegis BKB and that Dezo charging up the ramp, at least the Phantasm's off CD, but question is how this fight will start. There's no crazy AoE wombo combos. It's just going to be a man. Chest out Dota coming in from Superfly. Going to go for the stun, but is nullified by DDZ's BKB. They're going to go for a big stun onto IO. He's already gone, and Lance is huge too, delivering some great right clicks. Will time lapse back up to full HP to deliver some damage to Chen. He goes for the Ghost Scepter to stay alive, but Superfly is dropping low. Going to get sent home with Test of Faith to heal back up, but meanwhile the Rax is dropping. A couple of right clicks in, and that is definitely down. Looking at the range Rax now, as that doesn't stand a chance either. And the Slark just can't do enough by himself. The CK was sent home, the Queen of Pain, to try to follow, but in the end, they just can't repel them. They lose their mid lane, and Arrow lose nothing.
And Necrobook 2 on Zhangzai as well, just going for that extra little bit of push action. And yeah, that was, I mean, once again, they burned out quite a couple of spells. The BKB now down to 4 seconds, I think, for both Slark and the, no, 6 seconds still on the Slark. Slark with that Asgardi hasn't really done much. I mean, unfortunately, ever since he picked it up, they've just been in brutal team fights, and that's just once again showing you the power of the Jakiro, as I mentioned in the draft, just with those close proximity fights. His Ice Pass have been really just on par. Every single team fight he's managed to catch out. The Wisp managed to catch out the CK as well. And that just shows you, man, you can't fight into a Jakiro, especially with that healing ward down at the background. I mean, BSG has been so great with that healing ward, putting it relatively far back, keeping his team alive. And then, of course, you have Lance just doing his thing, jumping in and out of team fights, doing a lot of damage. And yeah, I mean, Nyx Assassin too, it's just been in the middle of most of the team fights, getting those carapaces off, getting a couple of double, triple stuns to combo it up with those Ice Paths, and they just have everything they need now to push out. They've got to take a couple of tier 2 towers still, the tier 2 top and tier 2 bottom. I don't think it's within their benefit to push straight down middle and try to force a team fight in the base again and take the throne. They're rather just going to play it safe. I mean, they have got those hand of Midas, just a little bit of an investment plan looking into the late game. But at the same time, you know, they can't really give too much space. If they do let one of the creep waves push in once again, they could lose a tier 3 or a Rax of their own with the relocate in. Ooh, Necro 3 now on the Jakiro, so more push power.
Yeah, looking really, really good for them. But just looking at the roster and what we've been seeing throughout this game, it doesn't really feel like Everlast have made much use of this IO. I don't know if it's the fact that they only once warded the enemy jungle and therefore haven't found that many aggressive openings, or just the fact that Arrow have been mostly always as 5. They're going to have the Aegis reclaimed here, so it is going to be -1 life for the Weaver, so the green mushroom expires. But yeah, the Wisp, the IO, has not really done all that much. Like, we see some tether healing going on, but for the most part, he gets focused down in fights because he has to come in so early. The reason he has to come in so early is because the BKB's on all the individuals that he wants to tether to. It's okay, it's like, I want a BKB, buddy. Well, I've got to be linked to you beforehand. So the Wisp comes in, he gets shredded and contributes very little. And as far as these relocates, they're almost non-existent. Like, we've seen a couple of relocates, very ineffective, and haven't really... It just doesn't feel like a Wisp game.
Yeah, there's distinctively 2 ways to play a Wisp, and the one is the big gang all over the map. The other one is split push a lane and TP in, but I'll talk about that in a moment because I think we might see another big battle here.
Yeah, DDZ has the Lincolns up on himself. Not actually sure what that's contributing compared to that of Weaver having the Lincolns. I think probably you want it on Lance. He doesn't have an Aegis anymore, but he can make his own decisions for himself. Obviously, he's choosing his position as well as his cooldowns, so there's obviously some strategy to that there. Anyways, CK does have everything up at his disposal. His BKB is down to 4 seconds, though. Slark sitting on 6 seconds. Neither one looking too great as far as consistent magic immunity. Yeah. And the second that falls, we already talked about the Heaven's Halberd, the Crippling Fear, both just completely nullifying their potential to auto-attack, and until a Monkey King bar comes up, that's not going to change.
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying about the Wisp, there are 2 ways to play the Wisp in a lineup, and then obviously you have to decide before what you want to do. Picking up a hero like the CK, you don't really have the ability to split push a lane as 2 and have sort of 3 heroes that are okay to hold off a team fight until you can TP to the back and wreck them. You usually see that kind of Wisp alongside a Tiny, but in this case, the Wisp along with the CK, that is for your you know, if you do have it as well with the Tiny, with the sort of TP and flash, murder somebody and get out. You can do that with the Tiny, but it works a lot nicer with the CK as well. But the CK Wisp combination has kind of become sort of null since the change to Wisp's tether, not doing the stun anymore, because you used to be able to TP and Reality Rift, get the stun, get the secondary stun, and then deal the damage. And as I mentioned, just wreck someone and get out again with the Relocate, return to the lane and continue pushing it with the power of the Wisp. But ever since that changed, I mean, it's difficult to draft this Wisp again alongside a CK. Drafting it alongside Tiny, it's a similar effect with tossing the Wisp in, getting the stun, adding the secondary stun. But I don't know, it's just, I agree with you that they haven't really been putting it to full effect, keeping around the map, trying to get pickoffs here and there. The heroes that have been traveling alone really are heroes that are quite impossible to kill. Your Juggernaut can spin TP out, your Night Stalker relatively tanky, can pop nighttime, run away. Weaver also impossible to kill with Shukuchi, Lincoln Sphere, Time Lapse, and I guess Jakiro and Next Assassin kind of been just sticking to their own and running around together, doing a little bit of counter warding. They've never really been alone on the map in a place where that the CK and the IO can jump in and grab them. So very, very well done by Arrow to sort of keep that at bay. But yeah, I do agree with you that this Wisp combo hasn't really worked in their favor.
So it kind of comes down to the draft timing. They pick up the Wisp on their third pick in response to a Nyx and a Weaver, which were on that list of very difficult to bring down targets when it comes down to relocate ganks. So maybe just not the time for this strategy, I'm not too sure. But as soon as their momentum started falling off, their potential feels almost non-existent. You look at the Arrow's map vision and map control right now. They have a ward on Roche, they have a ward on Ancients, they have a ward on the top rune area, and the second that Everlast smoked, although it wasn't seen directly, they knew exactly what was up, because they should be seeing them under one of those three wards. So they all backed off all the way back to their base just to make sure that they were fine, and all they had to do was wait for the creep wave to take its toll as the Mega Creeps continuously push in the mid lane. So great strategy from Arrow, great control now, and that gave them, of course, as well a free Roche. So now looking at another Aegis on the Weaver. I don't think that was a cheese Roche. No, it was. Night Stalker will pick up cheese alongside his Abyssal Blade for the next fight.
Yeah, Abyssal Blade, Heaven's Halberd. I mean, that's a pretty stock sorted Night Stalker. I mean, I would have probably added a Scepter for a little bit extra vision, a gem as well. But in the meantime, I mean, they could have maybe cleared out the bottom lane quite a bit, knowing that they were doing Roche. They could have cleared out the bottom lane, given themselves a little bit of space. But now with all the towers down, Everlast, I mean, Goldgraph, I mean, look at that swing now down. It's almost a 20,000 gold swing in favor of Arrow. And swung to 5,000, but it's 20,000 drop.
The experience graph is even more brutal, dude. This is ridiculous. That's 20,000 net. Oh my gosh, that is just quite a turn of events. And it comes down to the fact that they were able to hold able to hold their position. That fight on the bottom tier 3 has to be the most game defining right now. In the fact that they were able to get a lot of great AoE spells off between the Jakiro and the Nyx. They were able to pin down Slark without him using his Shadow Dance. And they were able to just waste a lot of Everlast time and resources. So the turnaround began there. Then Everlast started getting baited to use cooldowns that they had no place using, and suddenly they are completely trailing in this game. They have still some tools to come back. They do have the Monkey King bar on Queen of Pain, so if she's not casting spells because of Crippling Fear, she at least can still be right-clicking as well as sheeping, and that's very potent, of course. But along with that, the CK is still a very powerful carry when he can get some hard strength items, like whatever this Reaver is going to be built into, can make those Phantasms hit like absolute trucks. And of course, the Slark is one of the most amazing heroes in the late game when he can really get what he's looking for. You mentioned a lot the Jakiro and Nyx, they're very frustrating to deal with as the Slark because of the fact that they can do ground target stuns, but if he times his Dark Pact well during his Shadow Dance, or he uses his BKB when he's outside of it, he can get a lot of auto attacks off and sustain throughout the fight, and when that happens, the Essence Shift starts to ramp up. I mean, a scalable hero with 4 seconds of invulnerability, it's like a super faceless void. It's just insane.
You know, my biggest sort of peeve in this game is they saw the Hanamatus on the
double damage Desolator, bringing him low, and actually just going to turn on BSR. He blinks away too. Like, this guy is 1v3 man mode, because why not? He's got 3 minutes left on this Aegis.
Penance.
Oh, but yeah, they saw the Hanamatus.
They're going to go sheep up on him. Can they get any more hard lockdown, though? They will look for the pounce. Not going to find it. Plants time lapses and walks away while the push ensues down on the bottom lane.
Yeah, late game. I didn't think, especially with those hand balances up. I didn't think if Everlast didn't end it at that last big team up we saw, where everything sort of turned around on that tier 3 tower in the bottom lane. I felt that was the big fight for them. If they'd won that fight, they would have probably won the game. But that just went south with Slark being maybe a little bit too greedy, and now pushing into the late game. This is definitely going the way of Arrow.
Yeah, they're doing pretty good right now. They're going to go for a Blink Stun, not going to connect. Superfly pops off his BKB, goes for a huge amount of damage onto DDZ. The Ice Path, though, the right clicks, they bring it down. That's a 4-second BKB, guys. It's not going to work out very well. The Abyssal comes out onto Solitic. It almost is enough to bring him down. Weaver will secure it, and with a nice little ulti coming up from the Juggernaut as well, they're cleaning up the remnants, whatever's left. A buyback came in from the Slark, a buyback from the Queen of Pain, but Lance, I believe, his time lapse back to full HP, hasn't even lost his Aegis here. Like, they are still fighting at full strength. Solitic is on his last legs without any cooldowns left. Can he even get back to Fountain? No! Run down before he can get there, and I gotta say that's GG. 90 seconds in the grave.
Yeah. And wow, Arrow comeback champion. And I have to commend Everlast. I mean, they did really well in this game for the first sort of 35-40 minutes, and then unfortunately it was just one team fight that swung everything. I mean, the gold graph swung, dropped only about 2,000-3,000 after that team fight, but it was just sort of a snowball effect from there. They kept making crucial mistakes and kept getting caught out by the stuns, and Slark obviously not using his BKB at the sort of optimal times, and it was just unfortunate that that Everlast had to not really throw this game, but just really well played by Arrow, knowing exactly how to deal with it and keep on the heels of Everlast and push them, put them under a lot of pressure, and eventually dropping down. And well, yeah, it was a fantastic series and well played to Arrow, but well played to Everlast as well for, I think, giving everybody a little bit of a scare there at the start of the third game, sorry.
Yeah, very, very nicely done. It was just, I really think it was about the snowball. The fact AOC is all about getting kills early. The Queen of Pain is a snowball hero at heart, 100%. Probably, you could probably define her as the most snowball-y of snowball heroes. So combine that with a Slark who relies on that aggressive gank active style. Once you start tapering hard, and it's just like you hit a cliff. And Weaver and Juggernaut overcame that and were able to turn around very nicely done. So Lance, although I will always be one to question the Midas pickup in that kind of a high-pressure game, it pulled through, he pulled through, and so did the rest of Arrow. Good game, well played. They take the third game of this best-of-3 series, moving them on to the next round of the upper bracket. And although it is double elimination and Everlast will still see the light of day in the lower bracket, they still have to fight their way up through what I like to call the variety bin of SEA Dota, which is just some crazy action. It's best of one, anything can happen, and you feel a lot less stable going down there.
Well, that was pretty exciting to have casting, I won't lie, but wow, really, really well played by Arrow once again, and I actually look forward to seeing them. I'm going to put my money on it now that they're going to take this competition.
Really?
Putting my money on it. Yeah, putting my money on Arrow taking this competition, and I'm going to say it's going to be a Zephyr versus Scythe versus Arrow final.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's I was gonna say, if you're calling Zephyr, they went.
No, I made a mistake.
Lower bracket round one. As good of a team as they are, and as much as I like those guys,
no.
That's a lot of games to try to take secondly. Okay, well, if it comes true, you are darn near a prophet on that one, but. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out in the next few days. Essentially, for AOC Pro Cup, we have every single day filled with action-packed matches. We're going to have some amazing ones starting off tomorrow at noon for CET, 19 o'clock for Singapore time, 6 a.m. for those on my time zone, Eastern time. However wherever you are, there's going to be some awesome games, and you definitely want to check those out. So that's going to be coming up tomorrow. 2 more best of 3s. And just going to keep on going through this upper bracket as far as I understand it. Yeah, there were some great games between Titan and RRQ. So Titan advanced. Orange and Mineski may still be deciding or decided. I haven't checked it out. But yeah, we're going to be seeing some awesome matches tomorrow. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, check out the VODs that are going to be up on youtube.com/blazecasting. You can check us out as commentators, twitter.com/blazecasting, as well as twitter.com/Congo. Kyle, and his Facebook is also facebook.com/CongoZA.
I should probably change them to both be the same, actually.
Maybe keep it simple, yeah, maybe. But
yeah.
However it works for you, man. As long as people can reach you and give you the props for this. I mean, this was a really good cast. This was a really great game from both teams. So definitely check out the teams too. Arrow and Everlast, representing Malaysia and Thailand respectively, both playing some incredible Dota and just bringing us some really cool competitions. So that is going to be concluding our broadcast for today, the third game of the best of 3. Quick shout out to AOC, as well as Dota Talk and DatBet. AOC is sponsoring the tournament, and the other two are just supporting it and making sure that we can get everything organized the way it needs to be. And yeah, really happy to be able to cast this caliber of teams in this kind of a tournament. So AOC definitely deserves some appreciation on that one. If you don't know about their products, they do monitors and televisions, and you can check those out. I'm sure you can just Google it and find some really good deals for that kind of hardware. But yeah, that's going to be it for us. We had a really fun time casting these games, but the conclusion is Arrow will take the best of 3 series 2-1. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Blaze and Congo signing off.